See the mirror hanging there? Face of silver, frame of black. Oculus of glass, I stare. I can feel you staring back.
Your character has this remarkable determination about her.
Yes.
And I was just curious, what attracted you mainly to this role?
Well, when I read the script, I thought, what I loved about it was a really original story. I'd never read anything like it. And also, they just devoted so much time to developing the characters before we start scaring everybody that it was like we could really invest in them, and particularly in this character for me. And I just liked her. She was really in command and control to a certain degree.
The thing it's interesting, and I like how you point out the characters are very developed. I think that really counts in a movie like this. And there's also, each character kind of has to appear a bit sane at times and insane at other times.
Yeah.
Was that hard to balance that? What was the challenge of that?
Well, this is something that we really wanted to play with, because ultimately the film is about warping your perception, and that's what the mirror does. So we wanted to do that with the characters so that the audience could feel that too. So we kind of, it's about a brother and a sister, so we wanted to play with which one is insane and which one is sane, and we kind of flipped between that, and that's what I loved about this character so much, actually. You think that she's fine, she's got it all under control, and she's unraveling, and you're starting to think, this girl's not okay.
Watching this movie and looking at the mirror, it's like, it reminds me of all the household objects that kind of frightened me as a kid.
Yeah.
Did you have any household objects like that kind of freaked you out as a kid?
I used to go to car boot sales all the time. Do you have those here in America?
We might, yeah.
Where you just sell stuff out the back of your car.
Right.
And I found this China doll once that was the scariest thing. And I didn't keep it. I just held it and I put it back. And then I told my friends that it was a really scary China doll, and I freaked myself out. And then I went back to the car boot sale the next week to try and find it, and it was gone.
The movie kind of blends past and present as it goes towards the end. The past and the present kind of intersect with each other. Were there any challenges for you in that?
Yeah, we didn't shoot it in chronological order, and there's two different timelines playing out at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge, to just know where you're at emotionally, where to pitch it each time that you're filming a scene. But that's where Mike Flanagan, the director, came in, and he was just so on top of it. He was like, you're here, and this is how you're feeling. And I was like, great.
It helps when they know, yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't, then it's, oh God.
Yeah.
My editor and I, we do have to ask you about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yes, which is coming up soon. Anything you want to tell us about that?
I play Nebula,
Okay.
who's the female villain in the film, and she's a really scary, sadistic, messed up lady.
Mm-hmm. Well, after seeing you in Oculus, it sounds like you're perfectly cast for that. So.
Thanks, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Your characters, you go through a wide range of emotions throughout the movie. And I was just curious, how did you two go about preparing to play your roles?
I think that it comes down to the script and seeing what's on the page and then just trying to formulate your own kind of take on that with also the collaboration of Mike, the director, the writer director, and then playing off each other and seeing how that dynamic was working.
Yeah, ultimately just a lot of trust in Mike. Every question I had, he had an answer for. It was all incredibly well thought out, and he knew what he wanted, but listened to all the ideas that you had and was open to them. And so it was a very fun experience.
Your characters, and actually all the characters, go through the movie to where they appear sane and then they don't. They appear quite insane.
Right.
And I'm just like, how much of a challenge was that for you two to pull off?
It's like Roy said, it was all there. It was already there on the script, and it was just a matter of trusting your instincts and then trusting what Mike wanted you to do. But, we kind of, the way that I wanted her to be kind of seen by the audience was, I wanted them to understand her. We had to make these characters likable and relatable for people to jump in the movie, and to be emotionally drawn into this movie. So that was just the main thing, is just how do we make them as likable and relatable as possible in the first 10 minutes.
There always seems to be these objects, especially when you're kids, that just frighten you to death. Were there any objects like that for either of you?
I always didn't really like trunks.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't know what's in them if you open them, or they got sharp edges, but very little when it was very little.
Yeah.
I still, till this day, look under my bed if my fiance is out of town. And I always look in the closets. I check every single room in my house before I go to sleep, and I just make sure that it's empty. I'm so scared of places where people can hide. So I've been known to actually go push on clothing and just make sure before I close the bedroom door that I am alone.
My editor did want me to ask you if you had any news on the Expendables, or if you wanted to say anything about the Expendables.
As far as I know, the script is amazing, and it is coming. Adi Shankar's amazing, so I would do anything he asked me to do.
It started out as a short film, and then it eventually evolved into this feature film. And how was it transferring the story from a short to a feature? That must have had some challenges.
Oh, it was really hard, actually. I mean, for one thing, the short's just one guy alone in the room with the cameras in the mirror for a half hour. So the initial thing was, well, there's no way this becomes 90 minutes without becoming incredibly boring. Like, we have to build other stories around this that are going to make it work. And then the other challenge was everybody saw the cameras in the room and would say, oh, great, then it's a found footage movie. And kind of for years, we would take it out and get people real excited. People love the short, and they'd be like, great, so we'll just do it as a found footage movie, and that'll be that. And I was like, no, that's not going to work for this story. Because we really wanted it, this idea of distorted reality and subjective and unreliable, narrators. We really wanted that to be in there, and the minute you go found footage, everything's inherently objective. You can't question what's in the frame. And we wanted people to go back and look at what was in the frame and say, maybe that wasn't even what I thought it was. Maybe what I've seen isn't real. To kind of be, so that the audience could have an experience similar to what the characters ultimately have.
The interesting thing is that I was talking with the other actors, and it's like there are moments where they appear to be very sane, and there are other moments where they appear quite insane. Yeah. And I was just curious, how did you help the actors out with that in terms of balancing that out?
Well, some of it with, Rory in particular, who kind of has a really kind of charitable descent into madness throughout it. One of the things we agreed on going in, Rory had said in one of our first conversations about it, that he was like, I don't think I want to play him crazy, because he doesn't think he is. So a lot of it was, letting the insanity come out of what they're actually doing, instead of having the actors say, now I will think about crazy. I'll bring insanity into the performance. Like, the more they can either commit to the idea that this is normal, which is a choice Rory made a lot that I thought was really effective, or to them just deciding as they went into a scene that they didn't know what was real, what was sane, where the character was standing. Letting the actor be ambiguous about that, I think, also helped us out with that a lot, because it's really hard to track that. A movie's a non-linear experience to make anyway. A non-linear movie being made non-linearly is a level of complication that would be daunting for any actor, and especially asking it of a large ensemble that includes young actors too that have to keep track of that. It asks a lot. So we were fortunate to have a cast that was so wonderful, to be able to come at it, and we're excited by that challenge instead of overwhelmed by it.
Looking at them, it reminded me of like objects as a child that always frightened me, like like a desk or something. Were there any images from your childhood, or maybe as an adult, that frightened you?
I was scared of the strangest things as a kid. I was scared of the clothes in my closet at night, and I used to think that they were going to come out in a line and smother me and strangle me in my bed. So there was always something terrifying about average, everyday objects for me, because it's like the things that I feared weren't so much the monsters. It was, the closet, the clothes, the old dresser, the noises we'd hear, when cars would go by the apartment, things like that. So, I've always been more scared by things that are ordinary and, really common, taking on traits usually late at night when, the shadows are running long, that kind of suddenly make you look at them a different way. And that's been something, that's been really exciting to play with in a movie like this. And I think actually going back through a lot of the movies that I made, if I look back, it's like, oh yeah, I can see that trend in there a lot. It's like, I seem to kind of go towards stuff that is ordinary and make it threatening in some way. So yeah. I guess I'm just a naturally, I guess I have no stability or safety in my life is what it's turning out to be.
I hear your voice. Believe your lies. A window, portal, darkened door. Should you claim my staring eyes, my soul you'll hold forevermore.
These things are just crazy. It's just
Yeah, it's been quite crazy. Have you been to a press day before like this?
not like this.
Not like this?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
this is new for me.
Oh, it's an interesting experience.
It is. It's a lot at once.